Please don't let social media trick you into thinking that all Gen Zers hate President Biden, because we know that the algorithms boost the extremes to the front page, and that can make people feel helpless, but Twitter is not reality. Because if we look at reality, if we look at actual polling, then people my age overwhelmingly believe in climate change, overwhelmingly think gay people should be able to get married, or we need gun reform or education reform. They're overwhelmingly pro-choice. This is the reality of the situation, despite what you see on social media. And while yes, it's fine to be disappointed with President Biden over certain things, that is how a healthy democracy works, we still need to understand that he is our only vehicle this election cycle to take us to this place that we want, or at least get us close. Whereas Donald Trump is a vehicle to regress America 100, maybe 200 years. I mean, during some of our most formative years throughout high school and college, we saw Donald Trump's administration and how much of a train wreck it was. We saw Donald Trump stripping EPA protections. Meanwhile, President Biden passed the largest climate change bill in the history of America. We saw Donald Trump appoint Supreme Court justices that led directly to Roe v. Wade being overturned. We saw Donald Trump unleash a wave of racism and xenophobia across our country. We saw him do a Muslim ban within his first week in office. Meanwhile, President Biden removed that Muslim ban within his first few months. So these sides are not the same. Both sides are not the same, and Gen Z cannot lose sight of that, because someday we will be handed the keys to these institutions and we want them to be functioning so we can pass education reform or gun reform or massive climate change bills or codify Roe v. Wade, etc., etc. If Donald Trump wins, if we cede any ground to MAGA, we may not have the functioning institutions needed to make this reform from the inside. So rather than abandoning our institutions because they're not quite perfect, we should work within them and take advantage of the fact that we can vote, we can mobilize, we can organize, we can phone bank to make sure President Biden wins. And if you've been feeling helpless lately or hopeless, take a look at this clip of a Gen Zer, someone my age, who says why he supports President Biden so much and why he hates Donald Trump. So if you have been feeling like Gen Z doesn't support President Biden, just know the dude from this clip I'm about to play and people like me and other Gen Zers that you may watch are much closer to the average Gen Zer than these extremes you get boosted onto your feed. Play this clip.
Biggest thing for me is just simply democracy. I mean, you know, we saw January 6th, we saw, you know, Trump just gradually eroding things away over the course of his term, and now he's admitting it flat out, I'm going to be a dictator on day one. I don't think that's just rhetoric. I think that's an admission. I think that's almost a boast.
So many Gen Zers have been paying attention. Many are locked in and understand that not only is democracy at stake, but our lifestyle is at stake. These fundamental freedoms that make our day-to-day lives easier. And that we are not only voting for a person, we're not only voting for an administration, but we are voting for future Supreme Court justices. And remember, again, Donald Trump appointed these Supreme Court justices that led directly to Roe v. Wade being overturned. And that a second Trump term could be disastrous for our institutions, for our Supreme Court, for any minorities in America, or any non-Christians within America. I mean, even if you are a white Christian male, you will still see your health care getting stripped away. You will still see the economy doing worse under Donald Trump. And a little bit of a side note, I'm still a college student, so something I always think about is like, if I had a class and the teacher was somebody like Donald Trump, I would drop that class immediately. Imagine having a professor that spends the entire class talking about himself and his accomplishments. He spends the entire class making up nicknames for other people in the staff. Anytime something goes wrong, he blames the assistants around him, but then says he picks the best assistants. And at the end of the term, he tries to overthrow the faculty and tries to take control of the university, and then essentially tries to sell you some sort of Bible. I don't know. Now this is a little bit too on the nose, but you understand what I'm saying. A teacher like this, somebody like Donald Trump, isn't competent enough to be a professor, nevertheless the president of the United States. And most Gen Zers understand this. Most of them understand this lens, this worldview that I'm explaining right now. And even when the GOP does try to pander to people my age, it is just an absolute and a total failure. Like, really quickly, think about it. We have Taylor Swift on our side. They have who? Kid Rock on their side. Even the other day, Mark Hamill went to the White House. He met with President Biden. They made a lot lot of jokes relating to Star Wars. And then you look at the GOP, this one cracked me up, but the North Carolina GOP posted a picture of Donald Trump and it says, "May the 4th be with you." But whoever posted this must have never seen Star Wars, because Donald Trump is holding a red lightsaber, and red lightsabers are what the villains hold in Star Wars. The villains have red lightsabers, and that's what they put on Donald Trump. So it's like, are they self-aware, or do they lack so much awareness that they don't even understand who they're pandering to? I think it's the second one, to be quite honest. And I could dig into the policy too, but to talk more about the cultural aspect for 1 second, we have people like Mark Hamill or people like Taylor Swift who have all of this star power and who are on our side, and they have who? Again, Kid Rock or Forgiato Blow, who nobody's ever heard of. And Taylor Swift is trying to mobilize her fan base, maybe young women or women in their 20s, because she knows what is at stake. She knows what happens when states begin to ban abortion, when states begin to ban contraception and IDF. Again, these fundamental lifestyle threats are scarier than anything Joe Biden could possibly ever say or do. Any sort of stutter he has on stage is immediately superseded by the fact that Donald Trump is an actual wannabe dictator. Those are the words of General Mark Milley. And sometimes it feels like Trump has created this entire universe of wacky MAGA characters that nobody really cares about. It's like Mar-a-Lago is his own Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, and he's created this entire roster of these insane people. People like Rudy Giuliani, people like Mike Lindell, people like Marjorie Taylor Greene or Lauren Boebert. These are people that like the average Gen Zer does not resonate with. The average normal human being does not resonate with. I mean, if I went to a college party and I saw sitting there Mike Lindell, Rudy Giuliani, Marjorie Taylor Greene, not only would I leave the party, but while I was there, I would make sure that they're not stealing my wallet. I've said this before, but Mike Lindell is the type of dude to steal your wallet, then help you look for it. So of course, one of my main goals this election cycle is to mobilize Gen Z and help people understand what is truly at stake. But aside from that, I also really want to hold more Gen Z roundtables where I get other Gen Z content creators or just college students, and we all get together and talk about what we think is important and what we think is truly at stake. I also want to hold more Gen Z debates. I've already done a few with people like Alex Stone or Hannah Faulkner, and I think those clashing of ideas can be very, very important. On top of that, I am a part of this crazy awesome tour called the Tour to Save Democracy, where other Gen Z content creators and I will be touring the country in a bus and hitting red districts in an attempt to flip them blue. I'm about to play the promo for the Tour to Save Democracy. Watch it till the end. You'll see me in it. It's a really motivating clip. But first, make sure you leave a like if you enjoyed, and make sure you comment a blue heart if you made it this far. Let me know what you think about this tour. Make sure to subscribe. Let's roll this clip.
My generation has never lived in a world without mass shootings.
Or a world that's not getting hotter and hotter by the second.
This is not the reality we chose for ourselves.
Or the future that we want for the next generation.
But the truth is, we're the ones who will have to deal with a broken system we didn't create.
Where our reproductive freedoms are under attack.
And we struggled.
And we struggle to afford housing, healthcare,
And a quality education.
And if we're going to stand a chance at solving these issues,
And we've got to remove the Republicans
Republicans
who are standing in the way.
and replace them with
Democrats.
who will fight,
fight for our future.
So this summer,
We're not taking no for an answer.
we're going on a tour.
going on a tour across the country, stopping in Republican-held districts
To flip them
Blue. Flipping these seats blue
is key to fixing our future.
and yours too.
Simply put,
Republicans don't care.
about our voices
or our lives.
And as we speak,
They're coming for each and every one of our freedoms.
and blocking
All progress.
But when we win, we can finally turn ideas into action.
And movements into policy.
but it won't be easy.
won't be easy.
It's going to take every single one of us.
no matter your generation.
Yes, that includes you.
You.
That includes you.
So please visit tourtosavedemocracy.com to learn how you can get involved and help us build a movement.
I'm incredibly excited. I'll be hitting mostly the Midwest stops because I don't have the time to tour the entire country. I have a lot of commitments with Midas Touch and other projects that I'm working on, but this is going to be awesome. I'm going to help them every step of the way, and comment what you guys think of it. Have a great day.